We have multiple updates regarding around this Celtics sale as the drama has been talking about this centerpiece of Celtics news, and all signs are pointing to this as Wyc Grousbeck has obviously pursued to sell the team to Bill Chisholm, and Brad Stevens, after meeting him in Sacramento, opened up about his interactions with Bill and what he thinks this team is going to be heading into. So we'll be diving into that. Plus, we got some updates regarding around Bill Chisholm and the sale of this Celtics team. We'll be getting into all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I am Bruce Veliz, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here today. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support on the channel. It's been super appreciated. Patrick and I really do appreciate it. And Patrick and I are gearing up for our weekly live stream, ladies and gentlemen. And this week we will have a special guest in Ian Eangelo. So we're super excited to have him on the stream. I don't know if this video is coming out before, but if you are seeing this post, that stream, definitely make sure to check out that VOD if you did not come to the stream. And if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this team, hit the subscribe button so you know when these special guests are coming on Celtics Digest. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into this news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack, and there's some interesting news once again revolving around this Celtics team and the sale, as the drama, not really has been ensued on this, but it definitely has been a talking point and a sticking point around the Celtics since free agency. As we all know, Celtics are in the second apron, with them kind of winning the championship, giving all their players a payday either last offseason or this offseason. The Celtics have a lot of these, future luxury tax bills and a lot of money they're going to be paying down the line. And with new ownership coming in, a lot of question marks have kind of been revolving around that. So we got some, gratification with that when we went down and kind of got this article here from Noah Dalzell. And she released this today and talking about Brad Stevens speaking on the Celtics sale to Bill Chisholm for the first time. We're going to dive in and look at this article and get into that. And Stevens obviously has spent time as the Celtics owner. He's spent some time with the Celtics owners, but he's liked what he's seen so far. The first two spoke on the phone a couple weeks ago when Chisholm was one of the finalists to purchase the Celtics. He then met with him in person on that game in Sacramento, where he also met, Jayson Tatum, Joe Mazzulla, stuff like that, where Bill and Kimberly attended the game. And he says he seems like a great person, seems super excited about the Celtics, and he's always been a big fan. And we've kind of known that about Bill Chisholm, obviously being a Massachusetts native, growing up in Georgetown. But Stevens, who's obviously assumed this role of general manager, obviously noted that he expects Chisholm to be himself and bring his own authenticity to the role of being the Celtics owner. He's also gotten the impression that Chisholm, who comes from the private equity world, is eager to learn about the way the organization has been run thus far. When you buy a team and you're invested like that, it's going to bring great ideas. It will operate and execute plans, and ultimately, he wants to be right. But in reality, I'm impressed with how community seems to be learning more about this whole how we've done things, both the business side and the basketball side. And that is key for this Celtics team. As we've mentioned, Wyc Grousbeck, had those communications and had those conversations with Brad Stevens. And that's what led Brad Stevens to making those big moves, unfortunately, to tear at our heartstrings and trading away Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, and players alongside that to get other players in Kristaps Porziņģis and Jrue Holiday to push for that championship. And obviously, the reward has been great. But someone like Bill Chisholm, who obviously wants to learn those roles and kind of understand what it takes to kind of be in that position, to kind of understand when we need to strike, similar to how Wyc did previously, is absolutely key for the Celtics' success. And we also saw this, with Bill Chisholm kind of being that Jedi Padawan situation with Wyc Grousbeck. We know Wyc is going to remain the owner or, front of office until 2028. So that allows Chisholm to kind of be under his reign for 3 seasons, to really get under the stick of things with Brad Stevens and to really understand not only the Celtics culture and mentality that has instilled from him growing up being a fan, but also how the front office and how they kind of run things and operate. And I think that is key for Celtics fans to keep an eye on. But let's keep diving into this article because there's some more great snippets. We also saw, obviously, there was questions on how the sale will impact day-to-day happenings as well as the future of the team. And it's obviously early, but Brad Stevens says it appears that Chisholm appreciated how things have been done so far, saying that he says that he recognizes that we're not where we've got a good thing going. And so for me, the most important thing in this whole transition is just the people that I work with feel real comfortable. And I think that clearly from every indication of every conversation I've had with Bill, I do feel comfortable, and I think everyone should. At the same time, Stevens recognizes that more clarity will come in the coming days as he spends more time with Chisholm and Grousbeck learning things, like I said, similar just recently in those 3 years where they'll be together. And he says, in every indication, it is pretty much business as usual, he said, as expected. But again, you spend a lot of time and money on these things, and so you have every right to come in and put your stamp on it however you want. And so I'm looking forward to working with them. My only thing is just to continue to keep being at the top, continuing being in the loop of everything. And I just want to know from their standpoint, just need to know from their standpoint, making decisions here and now and moving forward. And obviously, obviously, they have to have that open communication. Like I mentioned, Wick had that communication with Brad Stevens last offseason, and that's what led to the success of the Boston Celtics pushing for that championship. So obviously, he recognizes that, and Chisholm recognizes that they got something good here. So even if they're spending a little bit of money, even if he has to dive into those pockets to pay some extra luxury tax, as long as it's bringing wins, as long as it's bringing happiness to the city of Boston, that's all Bill and Brad want to do. And as long as they don't interact and impact each other's business, I think the Celtics will be okay. And that every indication is clear as day here. Obviously, Stevens met with the 4 finalists for an hour or two a few weeks back, and that was the extent of the involvement. He says, it's not my say, it's ultimately the Grusbeck's family say, and it was more just meet some of the people that worked in the basketball ops, just any questions they had. When he met with each of the finalists, he noted different groups had different aspects of the sale they were most interested in. And talking to Chisholm, his deep-rooted Celtics fandom stood out most. It was real clear talking to Bill how much he loves the Celtics, how much it means to him, Stevens said, and that's really cool. And I think that snippet right there is really key for Celtics fans to really wrap their head around. Once again, like I mentioned earlier, Bill Chisholm, being that Massachusetts native, has those, ties to the Celtics. It's not like some random owner from, California or Kansas is coming to buy this Celtics team. It is someone that has roots, that has appreciation for that green and black and that white, and really does love this Celtics squad. So you have to really value in that with coming out of Brad Stevens, because we know Brad Stevens also has that appreciation for this Celtics team. He understands what it means to be a Boston Celtic, and I think that Bill also really understands that as well. We also see here that Stevens confirmed that he found out the team was for sale about 12 hours before it was the team was up for sale for about 12 hours before it was announced to the public, saying his initial thoughts goes not to the team, not anything, but to the 60 people in the basketball operations, just like the team president. Initial thought goes to the corporate side. Stevens said that ensuring trust in the organization has been key. Obviously, they've been trusting in him with making the moves, but he trusts them as well, saying, ultimately, I want to see all of our people do well and continue, and I'm surrounded by such talented people, to be honest, that they carry my ass every day. So I'll make sure that all of them feel good and feel good about the transition. Based on everything, meeting Bill, Wick being around, hearing from both, they've given us every indication that this is going to be the case. And when Grusbeck selected Chisholm, it meant that Steve Pagluka, a longtime visible part owner of the team, would not be an owner moving forward. Joe mentioned this, and I think some of our players have too. There's also the people that have had the chance to be fortunate enough to work for my first 12 years here and that have owned the team the past 20. Stevens noted that while Grusbeck will be sticking around as a governor, the Pagluka family is also a relationship that he's also cherished, saying that's hard when you have those relationships, and that's hard when you see those relationships not be a part of it, but I'm really just thankful that we've gotten a chance to spend time with all these people, and we're really looking forward to working with Bill and his group. So unfortunately, like we mentioned, with Paglucia, I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. Obviously, he's in the ownership as well. He's not going to be maintaining that. And that is obviously tough for some of these people that have been in this organization. But with Bill coming in, it is looking like it is not maybe going to be sunshine and rainbows, but it is looking all bright from initial reactions, not only from the head coaching standpoint, from the Wick standpoint, and how they're nurturing him and kind of having him understand this team as a whole unit, but also the fact that the Boston Celtics are, trusting in Brad Stevens, they're trusting in him, and they're all going to work as this conjoined unit once again. And I truly believe that this Celtics team is still going to compete, still, push for these titles with this window that they have with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because they're not slowing down. They're only going to continue to get better, and we're going to see that through the development of these superstars. And I can't wait to see who these players are that stick around and stay, and who they also put around these superstars to really compete and contend in the near future. So let me know your thoughts on that. But we do have some more news, because we have some new news on the sale revolving around Bill Chisholm and the sale. And we have a little bit of an update with that here as well before we sign off, as we see from John Zanis that the Celtics sale is coming under some more scrutiny. As we all know, in this Axios article, Chisholm put up a smaller stake in the company than the PI firm 6th Street, which is an MBA, is a no-no. So the MBA's private equity ownership rules obviously are private, and apparently you're not allowed to do what Chisholm did. And at this point, we can only assume that the Chisholm deal obviously blew all others all completely out of the water in what he offered, like by $1 billion or more blew away. Hard for the Celtics to say no, even if financing was still being worked out, hoping NBA turns a blind eye to funky structure because the figure is so massive. And unfortunately, we know that they kind of try to work with 6th Street. We made a video about that, talking about the initial sale where 6th Street was, a $1 billion investment partner in with this, and apparently they're not going to be able to do that. So for the Celtics to kind of figure this out with Bill Chisholm, they're going to have to work their way around that, figure out a way to kind of recoup that $1 million, figure out a way for the Celtics, or $1 billion, figure out a way for the Celtics to kind of get that money, or, maybe the NBA does turn a blind eye. But that could be, a little bit of a disruptive matter in all of this sale initially. But so far, from what we've seen with, Bill Chisholm and what Brad said, what Wick said, what Joe said, what this organization has said top to bottom, is that this is going to be a solid addition, a key piece for the Celtics moving forward and continuing to building this structure and really competing at the top echelon of the Eastern Conference. And that's all you can care about. They're going to let Brad do his job, stay communicated with him, and, have someone in Bill Chisholm kind of learn the ropes from two of the better people in front office running in Wyc Grousbeck, in Brad Stevens, one in Brad Stevens who learned under Danny Ainge. I think that is absolutely key for the success of Bill Chisholm. He's being thrown into a top tier organization, but is not going to be, just thrown in there and thrown into the dust. He's going to have those fundamental blocks around him to help shape what team he truly wants to build and kind of compete for Boston for the future. And I think that's the key, is letting him see the vision that he can create alongside these, other voices that can help pinpoint him in the right direction. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like I said, how you guys feel about this Celtics sale and ultimately how you think this will affect this Celtics team. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day and go Boston Celtics. Peace out, everyone.